ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Welcome all of you this evening. I will tell you the meaning of one very famous verse which encompasses the goal of Sanatana Dharma. Sarve janaha sukhino bhavantu, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha va bhavet. Meaning of this mantra is, may the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous become tranquil, may the tranquil become free, may those who are free set others free. I'll repeat again. You all can repeat after me. May the wicked become virtuous. May the virtuous become tranquil. May the tranquil become free. May those who are free set others free. This is the goal of all religions, ultimately. The meaning of this is, the wicked mentality cannot keep an individual peaceful, nor can that individual make others peaceful. So the wicked mentality actually creates trouble for oneself and for others. Like Hitler killed the 10 million Jews and he finally shot himself. He committed suicide, self-immolated himself. You can see that. Hiranyakashipu, long ago, he created trouble in the entire world for everybody, including his own 5-year-old son Prahalada. Finally, he was destroyed. You will see that. So, wicked mentalities don't last long, nor can they make the individual happy, nor can they make others happy. On the other hand, one who possesses love and shares love can be a vehicle of love, can experience true happiness, and can also spread happiness. There's a saying in English, the hand that lends roses is rendered fragrant. The more you lend out roses, your hand is rendered fragrant. And this is one of the reasons why I took to this order of studying the Gita and distributing it, because Gita is such a wisdom with great fragrance, spiritual fragrance. And by distributing it, I feel great joy, and I also see people becoming joyful by that. So, just like the lamp, you see, with one lamp you can light 1,000 lamps, and the original lamp will not be put off. Everybody benefits, and you also benefit by that. So, the goal of all religion is to remove the wickedness and replace it with genuineness. As I proceed with the seminar, it will become very easy for you to appreciate what I am talking about. To put it very succinctly, the goal of religion is heart transformation. Like a cruel person should become a compassionate person. Like an arrogant person should become a humble person. A belittling person should become a respectful person. A greedy person should become a satisfied person. A person whose heart is filled with love and lust should transform into a heart filled with love. A person who is angry, a person should become peaceful and calm, cool, collected. So, a rigid person should become a flexible person. So then the purpose of religion is achieved. The person should have a heart transformation. So today's seminar is all about that. So the seminar is about when there is weakness in our heart, how to not let it become wickedness, and how to go from that weakness platform to victory. You see, within us, there is an angel and an animal within all of us. So, to make it even more graphical, we can say, within us there is a Hanuman and a Ravana. So, the Ravana represents exploiting mentality. Because he would go to any part of the universe and bring any woman, whether she be daughter of somebody or wife of somebody or anybody, he would bring them to Lanka and he would exploit them. So that is Ravana mentality. At last, when he tried to bring Sita, he was destroyed completely. As opposed to that, you can see Hanuman, how Hanuman served Lord Rama, served Sita. In fact, he worked for bringing Sita and Ram together. You can see that. And he treated Sita as a mother, not as an object for exploitation. So, scriptures teach us that except one's own wife, one should treat all other women as mothers. Matravat paradareshu. And it has another figurative meaning also. Like in this world, all the property, wealth, it belongs to Sita only. Sita Lakshmi. It is her expansion only. So anything that is seen in this world should be utilized in Lord's service. It is not meant for one's exploitation. That's another meaning of that. So, Bhoga Vritti, Seva Vritti, these are two mentalities. So wickedness means Bhoga Vritti. Seva Vritti means service mentality. So heart transformation means this. So if you all want to know, we read so many philosophical books, it's very confusing. We hear about the unclean heart, how to make it a clean heart. Can't it be put very precisely in a way that we all can grasp very easily? If you ask that question, that is made very easy in Srila Prabhupada's books. There are only 3 impure mentalities in our mind. So you have the soul, surrounding that is the mind, surrounding that is the body. So right, like you see this body in the mirror, that's called gross body. Inside it there is mind, and inside the mind there is soul. So when the soul, Atma, comes to this world covered by the mind becomes putrefied, impure. How? Just like the rain is pure rainwater. When it touches the ground, it becomes impure, muddy. Again, you can purify it. Similarly, when we come into this world, we got a covering around us, around the soul, called mind, and the mind is impure mind. And as long as the mind is impure, either it becomes depressed or it becomes hyperactive. Depressed in mode of ignorance and hyperactive in mode of passion. These two are very famous mentalities of a soul who is covered by that impurity. So you can see that depression and hyperactivity means unrestrained action, or ignorance means lethargy and depression. So now, when the mind is impure, there are 3 impurities in the mind, beginning with proprietorship, controllership, enjoyership. These 3. Proprietorship, for example, Alexander at the age of 29 conquered practically the whole world. And at the age of 32, he passed away. So when he was about to die, he told his ministers and everybody, 3 things you all do for me, he said. When my dead body will be taken in the coffin, make sure you put my hand outside like this, so let the world know that I'm not carrying anything with me. Although I possess the whole world, I don't carry anything with me, he said. Second thing he said, all the gold, silver that accumulated all across the globe should be made into a mountain and taken along with my dead body to the graveyard and then taken back for all the world to know that I couldn't carry it with me. All that I earned was left behind. That was the second thing he said. And thirdly, he said, also all the doctors who treated me, who couldn't save my life, they should be taken up to the graveyard for people to know that my body was put in the coffin and buried and they couldn't save me. So no doctor can save this world, make anyone live forever. So very meaningful. So he was a big proprietor. He is not the only one. Many countries try to occupy other countries and become proprietors also for a while. Like in India, there were Mughals for many years. Then there were British for 200 years. After the Chinese people tried, after the Japanese tried, and Pakistanis tried. So one country tries to take over another country. For what? For looting all the wealth of the country. Initially to loot the wealth, that's the goal. And after becoming proprietor of the country, then control the land and the people. So first comes proprietorship, then comes controllership. And then they want to enjoy by that, making others into slaves, like that. Now this is on a larger scale, I am telling you. On a smaller scale, let us take a family. For example, husband and wife is a small family. They may sometimes argue on a trivial point. Say, wife tells the husband that you're coming with bare hands in the evening. Morning, I told you to bring this. How did you forget? Husband says, you never told me. She said, no, I told you. Husband says, when did you tell me? Then she says, you are attending the phone call. I told you to listen to me. Probably you didn't listen. Husband says, see, even if I am attending a phone call, still I was attentive with another ear. You didn't tell me. See, this argument can be never ending. If one out of the two submits to other, husband says that, maybe you told me, somehow I didn't listen to you well. Now you tell me again, I'll bring it from the market. Then wife will say, now you surrender it now. Now you take it. This is the point I told you, go and bring it. And the problem ends. But if they don't, if one out of the two doesn't submit, it can become a very serious problem. In this world, everybody is in a proving mode. Nobody wants to improve. We just have to add I am to the proof. We just have to be willing to improve. So here is the example of people trying to control. In the same manner in India, we have experienced that when a boy grows up, the mother generally loves the son very much. She raises him to the point of, being a grown-up boy and getting married. After he's married, the mother generally has little worry. Till now, my son was my son. Now he has become a husband of a girl. So will he listen to me or to her? That's the question. And the girl also who is getting married and going to a new family, she has to adjust. She thinks about her mother-in-law, father-in-law. She feels in the mind that, my mother was like this and this lady is like that. And they have a problem. It takes some time for them to adjust. So she has come to a new home now. So she wants support from the husband. So if two people want support, she wants support from the husband, but the mother wants him to be her son. So what is likely to happen? What is likely to happen? There can be a fight, isn't it? Both may be pulling two hands on either side. Just like a Mardangami beat on either side. Husband can be in that position. It happens sometimes. So here again, the wife wants to control, the mother wants to control. The boy's life is in a very precarious position. But if both of them give up the control, if the mother becomes mature and says, anyway, she's a young girl who has come to my home now, let she have him as her husband and let me become a little more detached. I am anyway an old woman. If she thinks like that, or if the daughter-in-law thinks that my mother-in-law is an aged lady and she's more experienced in the worldly things, so let she be the queen of the house, and I will behave like her own daughter. I will cooperate with her, go with her to market. I will do whatever she says. Let me cooperate. That means one out of the two is willing to bend. That's a happy family or not? If both are not willing to bend, it's a very unhappy family. Although they may have a board, home sweet home. You just put a board, isn't it? So that means one out of the two should give up the controlling mentality. Then it's a happy family. So similarly, the possessive mentality means, sometimes there are some leaders who want to possess everything, grab everything. They don't want to share the results with others. That's like imagine, you get a big cake. Like in Mayapur, they sell a big cake, round. You bring the cake, when you come back, home. You can keep the cake in the fridge and every day take it, which some people do. Or you bring the cake and call all the devotees in your neighborhood and say, please, all of you take little, I brought a cake. So it depends on your mentality, isn't it? We may have a sharing mentality, or we may have a possessing mentality. So the possessive mentality is selfish, sharing mentality is selfless. So in this way, the possessive or proprietorship mentality and controllership mentality, ultimately leading to enjoyership mentality. Enjoying, people think, means dominating others, passing over others. People think like that. Actually, it's not enjoyment. It is externally looking like enjoyment. Hiranyakashipu wanted to dominate Prahlad, small boy. But ultimately, was he happy or not? He was not at all happy. He couldn't become happy. When we try to control one another, we cannot be happy. On the other hand, how does Lord Krishna enjoy? Lord Krishna teaches the world, your real enjoyment comes by service. You will see Lord Krishna driving the chariot of Arjuna. You all have seen that. It's called Parthasarathi. So his enjoyment comes in serving his devotee. Lord Krishna is also washing the feet of his own devotees, Brahma. His enjoyment comes from that. Nowadays, there is one very famous topic in the companies, which is called servant leadership. There are many even Western management gurus who have elaborately spoken on the topic. If you put servant leadership in Google, you will get it. Servant leadership means it's called stewardship leadership. Stewardship leadership means you have a team of, say, 8 people with you. Your goal is to make every one of them successful. And you become their servant. What is the meaning of that? You become their servant means you keep on giving them inputs and make them do, and when they do, you clap hands. For everybody, individually, make them do. And then one day you make them all individual powerful leaders, and they flourish. And then from the background, your heart is deeply satisfied that I could make so many leaders. Such people are actually called kingmakers, we call them. On the contrary, most leaders think that I will be the apex in the pyramid. And what should all the other guys do? They should clap hands for me. That type of leader is very common in this world. That type of leader has a lot of ego, and that type of leader suffers a lot internally. He feels vacuum in the heart. He doesn't feel joy. So, when I became president in Pune, first time 1997, this is one of the things I learned from my spiritual master. This is Radheshyamdas Maharaj. Because I saw him how he manages. I don't want to be a president who will have 24 keys with me. Anybody wants anything, I will only go and open it. You want this, come with me. Day and night, all control will be with me. That kind of management I didn't want, because I saw from my spiritual master how he was empowering everybody. He would make everybody do great things and deeply appreciate. Like one Mataji, in one of the meetings I was there, all councillors meeting. She stood up and said, Maharaj, I am very unhappy about one thing. I want to bring it up to you. We never get to talk to you. You know, teenage children in our temple are, not at all getting attention. And Maharaj allowed her to vent out. She spoke out almost 5 minutes. And then when Maharaj saw that she is done with it, then Maharaj spoke to her and said, I deeply appreciate your concern. Maharaj said. And then Maharaj asked all the councillors, do you all agree with what she says? All of them said, yes, Maharaj, very true, very true. Yes. How many of you would like her to take lead in this service of organizing program for all our teenage kids? And everybody said, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol 3 times. And that day she was made the leader after that. After that, there was the era of, teenage children getting attention in Mumbai. And this is how I have seen him empowering people. And he would empower people, and he can have a full head. He doesn't have to say certain things. So, therefore, this proprietorship, controllership, enjoyership mentality causes wickedness in our heart. And that wickedness causes trouble to us and trouble to others also. So, now, I am showing some examples for you. See, Dhritarashtra's intentions and his external behavior. On the left side, I have shown Dhritarashtra being advised by his minister, Vidura. Actually, Vidura was a very noble soul, was a pure devotee, and a great Krishna's devotee. And Dhritarashtra was born blind, he was a king, but he was attached to making his son the king. Although his son was a very wicked son, Duryodhana, he was not qualified, and the citizens didn't want him to become the king. They wanted who to become the king? Yudhishthira Maharaj. And Yudhishthira Maharaj deserved to be the king. Why? Because he was son of Pandu, the brother of Dhritarashtra, and Pandu was the actual king. In the absence of Pandu, Pandu had told that I am going out of session, so you can take the rule for a while. And later on, Pandu had one curse due to which he resorted to the forest life. He didn't live in that. At that time, he had temporarily made in charge Dhritarashtra because his sons would grow up and take up the rule. But Dhritarashtra made a very wicked plot. What was his plot? That Pandavas should be wiped out and my son should rule. That was his intention in the mind. Although externally he behaved like a nice man. Externally. So you can compare, you can see Dhritarashtra would hear with one ear and leave it with another ear. He will not hear any good advice. Although his brother gave him very good counsel, he, what do you call it? I mean, he wouldn't pay any heed to that. He wouldn't implement it. In our lives also we can see, we all know to some degree our own deficiencies. You all know what is self-awareness, correct? No? Self-awareness means go at a point outside of yourself and watch yourself. What do people think about me? What do people talk about me? And what am I observing about myself? So what are correct behaviors I am showing? What are wrong behaviors I am showing? If you do this self-awareness, there are multiple advantages. One of the first advantages is, once you are a self-aware person, you can read Bhagavad Gita 2.56 to 2.72 verses, where this is elaborately explained, self-awareness. On a self-realized person, how does he sit, how does he speak, how does he walk, and all that is explained there. So if you do this, you'll be able to, tolerate the storm of this world. The world around you throws many challenges upon you. You can still be cheerful, unaffected by it. It's possible if you know your own natures and you know the things, the way they come in the world, you will learn acceptance in life. Like Krishna says that, he says, hope for the best and be prepared for the worst. So, and do your best. And what is the second part? Second part, people say, leave the rest. I have another newly coined phrase. Do your best and let God do the rest. And similarly, you say, where there is a will, God shows the way. That is more complete. So you will see that we, in our life, by doing the self-awareness, you will be able to bear with all the challenges that will come in your life. You will not become weakened or you will not be knocked down. But therefore, one has to observe oneself and keep on improving little by little bit. Even in company, people talk about Kaizen system. You might have heard. Kaizen system is little improvement you have to keep making every day. Every day should be a little increment in knowledge, a little increment in, becoming a better person. Like somebody is smoking cigarette every day, they can decide to smoke every other day. Somebody is quarreling every day, they can decide to quarrel twice a week. Like that, they can reduce it. In this way, we can make little improvement like that. Another advantage of self-awareness is you can look upon other people with a compassionate eye. You can see that just as I am struggling, others are also struggling in this world. Because you become observing person. Even if somebody yells at you, you wonder, why is that person yelling at me? Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I forgot to do something what was told to me. And you will ask that person, please tell me, sir, what makes you so upset with me? Why are you so upset with me? Please tell me. That means you are really a self-aware person. And you will be able to see your subordinates as, friends who are all working with you and yourself just being a coordinator of all of them. Not that I have a halo around my head or a holier than thou attitude. We don't see like that. We see that everybody is a child of God, and I am also one. And I am working with them together, joining hands. You will see like that. Also, self-awareness can help us to throw light on our mentalities. Do I have proprietorship or controllership and enjoyership? Like here, he's showing nepotism. Dhritarashtra. He wants to promote his son as the king, although he's unqualified son. Is it proper that somebody is a blood relative? I want to promote him as a king, although he's unqualified. Somebody else is highly qualified. So you can see that this Dhritarashtra had this weakness of heart, which was his attachment. Now, weakness is there with everybody, but the weakness can be overcome. So I am going to compare two examples now at the moment, make it more easy to appreciate Dhritarashtra's situation. So, should we make our weakness a deadly weapon to be selfish and become unreasonably ambitious, which is what he became. Which means, he became more and more selfish, and he knew that Duryodhana and his brothers are hatching a plot to kill Pandavas in varieties of ways. And Dhritarashtra was not unaware of it. But he pretended to be not aware. He pretended to be unaware. Because his idea was, he also desired like Duryodhana only. May these Pandavas die in some way, so my sons can do. So he became more and more wicked in that way. On the other hand, here you are seeing the picture of one. Many of you may be knowing, in case you haven't heard this story, to cut the long story short, on the extreme left side you find there is one king who had two queens. One beautiful queen and one moderate looking queen. So they both had one son. And both the sons wanted to sit on his lap. So, Suruchi, Suniti. See, the word Ruchi indicates her beauty. Niti indicates her morality. So, one was son of a moral queen, another one was son of a beautiful queen. So, whom do you think the king was attracted to? The beautiful queen or the moral queen? I think you are all very doubtful, you are innocent, very innocent at times. Whom do you think he must have been attracted to? Beautiful queen, naturally. So naturally he allowed her to make her son sit. But when the moral queen's son wanted to sit, that beautiful queen protested because she thought that I want my son to become the king, next king, not my co-wife's son. So she became upset. So she told Dhruva, the son of the moral queen, that if you wish to sit on your lap of your father, you have to be born from my womb, she said. Otherwise you cannot sit. And the boy, burst into tears. You see him in the first picture. And he cried and he went to his mother. When he went to his mother picked up the child. She said something extraordinary, which is very, very noteworthy for all of us in our lives. When she understood the whole situation, she told the boy, my dear son, do not harbor any malice for your stepmother, she said. Because in this world, if you harbor malice for others, you will suffer even more than them. It's like taking a red hot coal in the hand and running behind, chasing behind someone. That person is not going to suffer, you are going to suffer more. Instead, she said, you think about your progress. What do you want? Now you know that she wanted to make her son the king. So you want to be the king. Your father Uttanapad and his father Swayambhava Manu and his father Brahma, they all were gifted with the kingdom by whom? By Lord Vishnu, Lord Supreme Lord. So you go to him and God will give you. You think about your progress. All of you are working, you're all working in jobs. So you can do two things in the company. Either pull somebody's leg or you work for your progress. Which is worthy of doing? You think about your progress. How I can improve myself in my career and grow up, rather than how to pull somebody's leg so that he cannot grow faster than me. You try to grow as much as you can. Don't think about troubling others. And that's what his mother told him. Really, very amazing advice. So the first advice was given by the mother. Do not harbor any malice in your heart. If you want to make progress, go to Supreme Lord and meet him. And then the boy asked, where can I meet the Supreme Lord? She said, go to the forest, meet the saintly people. So on the right side picture, you see him going to Narada, great saint, and then peacefully sitting and learning from him, and that Narada taught him about the Supreme God. And Dhruva eventually you will find, he performed meditation and attained the darshan of Lord Vishnu, and he attained the Dhruva Loka. So, and then eventually he became a pure devotee also, and returned back in a very glorious way. The whole world glorified him. All devatas glorified him. Lord Vishnu was satisfied with him. So here, why am I comparing these two? Dhruva had a greater ambition than Dhritarashtra also. What was Dhritarashtra's ambition? He wanted the earthly kingdom. What was Dhruva's ambition? He wanted a kingdom better than Brahma also. Brahma is the biggest personality in the whole universe, in all the 14 planetary systems. He wanted a kingdom above Brahma's planet, better than the chief personality of this universe. That means whose ambition is our ambition? Dhritarashtra or Dhruva? Dhruva. Yeah. Dhruva wanted a post better than the best post in the whole world, the Brahma's post. He wanted a loka. That means whose greed is bigger greed? Dhruva's greed or Dhritarashtra's greed? Don't feel fearful to say that. Dhruva's greed only. But the second part is the beautiful part. What happens? The second part is this. Although Dhruva's greed was greater than Dhritarashtra's greed, bigger greed. I think bigger greed is bigger impurity in the heart. See, each of these three correspond to one quality. Now let us see who is able to match. Lust, anger, greed. We keep it on one side. And then similarly, proprietorship, controllership, enjoyership. Who can match it? So proprietorship matches with which one? In lust, anger, greed. Greed, exactly. And controllership matches with which one? Yes? No. Anger. Why? Hiranyakashipu tried to control Prahlad. He couldn't control. So what happened to him? And became angry. Isn't it? Dhruva's money tried to control Ambarish. He couldn't control. What happened? He became very angry. You will see that. You all don't have experience when you try to control somebody, they don't come in your control. You don't become angry. I think you have no experience of anger, I think, right? We all do become angry. When something is slipping out of your control, you become very angry. And enjoyership means lust. So lust, anger, greed corresponds to these three. These are the three impurities in the heart. So the greed for kingdom was far more in Dhruva than Dhritarashtra. But the end result for Dhruva came out successful. The reason I will tell you. Because he made weakness into victory. But Dhritarashtra made weakness into wickedness. That's the difference between the two. How anybody can say, actually I can tell you all the points, but I would like to hear from you. If any of you can say, what different routes these two fellows took, Dhruva versus Dhritarashtra. Both had, Dhritarashtra means one who was attached to the land. So that's the meaning of Dhritarashtra. But he was only attached to earthly kingdom, not a big deal. Dhruva was attached to a much bigger kingdom. How could he overcome the greed? If you compare both their paths, anybody can say some differences. Anybody would like to try? Okay, she says that Dhruva did not have envy towards anybody because his mother told him to not harbor malice towards anybody. Whereas Dhritarashtra had envy towards whom? Pandavas in general and Bhima in specific. Once he tried to embrace Bhima and kill him, right? But then Bhima put some statue, so he crushed the statue. That goes to show his hatred. That means Dhritarashtra's heart was filled with hatred. Dhruva's heart was free from hatred. That is one important difference. Okay, like that, anybody else would like to say anything else? Because if you think about it and come up with some answers, then tomorrow for you to apply it in your life will be very easy. Yeah, yes.
Dhritarashtra thought that because he was blind, God did not do a favor for him. Did a favor for him. Like it was unfair for him, and that's why he wanted kingdom by force or by any malice, through any malice. But Dhruva, on the other hand, accepted the fact, his situation, and he thought, how can he overcome? So he was self.
So he is giving another interesting point. He is saying that when Dhritarashtra was born blind, he thought that I am not a deserving king. So by hook or crook, I have to capture the kingdom. He thought like that. Whereas Dhruva thought that, yes, I was insulted by my stepmother, but my mother has told me not to take it seriously. So I will just, not worry about the, past. I will forget it like a bad dream. And I will look at the road ahead, how to be progressive in my life. Let me think like that. So Dhruva thought like that. So he is talking about the point of acceptance in life. See, if you don't have acceptance, you are going to brood over the past. And if you brood over the past, worry may bury you, it is said. I'll tell you one humorous example. Once in our temple, 4 or 5 of us were going to Yatra, Vrindavan Yatra. And we have to travel pretty long. This is 24 hours we have to travel. So, in a temple, they made this journey prasadam, we call it. For journey prasadam, for carrying for the journey. So, they made very nice paratha, they call it. It's very similar to chapatis. Chapatis and sabji, very nice dry sabji. And they made this papaya halwa also. Papaya halwa. Many other items, 5, 6 items they had made for the journey, 5, 6 of us. They nicely packed for each of us in one packet. And they kept it in a bag. So then we all boarded the train. And at noon time, 1 o'clock, all devotees said, please Prabhu, take out the prasad, let us take now. So then they found that the bag was missing. Then they called the temple and asked, hey, is it that we have forgotten the prasad pack in the temple? One devotee went and checked in the place and said, yes, Prabhuji, I am very sorry, you all have forgotten to take it. You carried all the luggage, but you forgot the prasad. So some of us were saying, alas, alas, such a wonderful prasad, we forgot it. Then I told them, okay, buy some bananas and eat, manage for the day. But there were a couple of devotees, they were discussing about what all items were there. So, papaya halwa was there. Is it very useful? The more you think about it, the more your heart is going to burn. By thinking about it, is it going to come flying to you? Therefore, it is that what cannot be cured must be endured. It is a learn acceptance in life. Because there are things given to you based on your previous destiny or previous activities. Like your face cut. Did you cut your face or God gave you the face cut? God gave you the face cut. Did you choose your parents or God gave you the parents? God gave us the parents. Like in Pune lives one Hinduja's family. When child is born in that family, as soon as the child opens eyes, the child becomes the owner of 47,000 crores of rupees. The child didn't work very hard. As soon as they are born, because that is the destiny, as we say. Previous life he has done some good. Now he is reaping the fruits. So you are born in a certain type of family. You are born with a certain face cut. You are born with certain level of IQ and all these things. These are all awarded to you based on your previous actions. So do not brood over what you don't have. Think about what God has given you and work on it. Are you utilizing well what God has given you? Think about it. Like for example, if I take a prasadam plate, should I look at my plate or others' plate? I should see what I need to eat. Correct? I should eat that. And others will eat as much as they can digest. Why to look at others' plate? I should look at my plate. Similarly, look at your life, what you can do with God-gifted talents which you possess. If you carefully see, there are 8 types of intelligences. You can be a good artist, as well as spatial, visual, or you can be a good linguist. Some people know a dozen languages. Some of you may have that ability, or you may be intrapersonal. You may be a philosopher, or you may be able to speak very good philosophy, or you may be a musician, or you may be very good in sports, bodily kinesthetic, or you may be very good in interpersonal dealings, and you can go for MBA, HR or something. You can deal with people very nicely, or you can go in marketing, isn't it? Or you may be logical, mathematical, then you can go in mathematics, computing, you can go for that. Now there is an 8th one they have added to this, which is naturalistic intelligence. That means you are eco-friendly, you like, and you work on things connected to nature. That also they have added now. So if you have any one of these 8 talents or more of this, if you have inclination to that, then you capture them and you encash on it and see progress in your life. And don't see what you don't have. By thinking about what you don't have, you are going to become depressed. By thinking about what God has gifted you, you become confident in life. That's what Dhruva's mother told him. Go ahead, my son, you have a very bright future. So Dhritarashtra actually was constantly, as he also said, he didn't do acceptance in life. He didn't see what best can I do. Actually, Yudhishthira Maharaj was made the king by Duryodhana. Then Yudhishthira Maharaj was given half the world to Duryodhana. Yudhishthira was ready even to take 5 villages and give the rest to Duryodhana. You all know that. So instead of accommodating the Pandavas, he wanted to wipe out the Pandavas. How foolish it is. And the result was, you can see that how it came. Another important thing to learn from this comparison, Dhruva and Dhritarashtra, is Dhruva heard from mother that Supreme Lord is capable of awarding anything to anybody. In fact, he's a supreme controller. There is nobody equal to him or above him. So he heard, she says, Tameva Vatsashraya Vridya Vatsalam. She told him, my dear child, you are crying to me, I am unable to pacify you. But if you go to forest and see the Supreme Lord, he can give you the love of 1,000,000 mothers, she said. And that was ringing in the ears of Dhruva, love of 1,000,000 mothers. My one mother itself is so loving, but imagine if 1,000,000 mothers' love is combined together, how powerful it must be. So Lord Vishnu, I definitely want to see him. So he developed an attraction for seeing Vishnu. So his mind was meditating on what? His mind was meditating on Supreme Lord. Then when he met Narada, he saw that Narada himself is a very, very cheerful devotee, joyful devotee, always playing on the veena and traveling across the globe, speaking the message about the Lord. So when Dhruva saw Narada, he developed deep respect for him. Because in this world you find many living beings are very morose and grief-stricken and always in a plan-making mode and always worrying about what they don't have. But here he saw Narada was very joyful. So he surrendered to Narada and he learned from Narada. And Narada is teaching him in the picture, you see, he's teaching about Lord Vishnu. He's teaching how to meditate on him, how to chant the mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narada taught him all of that. Narada told him that if you do this faithfully, very soon Lord will come and award you whatever you want. And the right side extreme picture is Vishnu coming. When Lord Vishnu came, Dhruva wanted to glorify Lord Vishnu with some prayer. But he was such a young boy. He didn't have even any experience in Gurukula also. He didn't go to school. So he doesn't know even alphabets in Sanskrit. How can he sing a poem? So then Lord Vishnu smiled there. He said, okay, you want to praise me with songs you are unable to, I will empower you. So Lord took his conch and touched the head of Dhruva, as you see in the picture. As soon as the Lord touched the conch to his head, immediately Dhruva became electrified, energized spiritually. Yonta pravishyamavati mama prasuptam sanjeevayatta shakti darasvadhamna anyasahastacharana shravanatvagadin Prana namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam bhaktim muhu pravagatam tvayime prasanko bhuyadananta mahatam amalashayana yenanta solpanam rupyasanam bhavabhyam Eshe bhavat gunagatam pratapanamatah. I'm just telling you a couple of verses. He recited many more. The meaning of this verses which I told you now, is, my dear Lord, by the touch of your transcendental conch, my whole body has become charged just like iron rod put in fire. It becomes red hot, it becomes yellow hot, white hot like that. My hands, my legs, my body, especially my tongue, I am able to glorify you profusely now, empowered by you, he said. That means Dhruva heard from mother about the love of the Supreme Lord. He heard about the instructions from Narada Muni how to see Supreme Lord. And meditating on the Lord in his heart, Dhruva was constantly remembering him and chanting his names. And Lord appeared in front of him. Try to imagine if there is a barrel filled with hay. Hay, yellow color hay. It's filled with that. And you just put one spark of fire inside. What will happen? It will burn down everything. Similarly, all the impurities in the heart of Dhruva became burned down. when he meditated on the Supreme Lord. That's the nature of Supreme Lord. Supreme Lord is so pure. Simply thinking of him, you can burn away the impurities. So his proprietorship mentality, controllership mentality, all mentalities are driven out. Dhruva became a pure devotee. And therefore, just like for example, and you will see that when just like people take this toothbrush, sometimes the toothpaste is very nicely tasty, right? And you put the mouth is fragrant by putting that. Similarly, when you take Lord into your heart, whichever place you put the Lord, He makes that place fragrant and bright and brilliant and removes the darkness and fills with wisdom, fills with bliss when you bring Him. So how do you do that in your lives? Like which Dhruva could do. Dhruva chanted the mantra and Lord entered his heart and He purified the impurities. Similarly, in this day and age, what chant we do? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. So the meaning of this mantra is very, very simple. Prabhupada says, please accept me. That's the meaning of this mantra. Oh Lord, please accept me. My heart is not pure. I have so many problems. With all these problems, I have come to you. Please accept me. And when Lord accepts us and enters our heart, He will cleanse. Just like when you switch on a tube light in a dark room, the whole room gets lit up. And then the Lord will lit up the heart. And He did that for Dhruva. The Lord came and asked him, Dhruva, tell me what do you want? Do you think Dhruva asked for any big land to rule? You know what he said? He said, Kasam Vichinman Apidivyaratnam Swamin Plutarthosmi Varamnyas. He says that, my dear Lord, I came to the forest in search of broken glass pieces. But I found a diamond. So who is the diamond? He said, the beautiful form of Vishnu he is seeing. He said, you are the diamond I got in the forest. Although I came in search of glass pieces, he said. And the glass piece is the kingdom that he wanted. That means he is considering the kingdom to be useless. He lost that propensity. This is a very amazing thing when one approaches the Lord. On the other hand, what happened to Dhritarashtra was different. There many, many complications happened to Dhritarashtra. Maybe one little story I can tell you from Mahabharata. One day Akrura came to meet Dhritarashtra and told him, see, Kunti is weeping, I am seeing, because you are doing lot of political game. Stop all this nonsense. He told him, Yudhishthira Maharaj is a deserving king and the whole world wants him to see him become the king. And Dhritarashtra also agreed. He called 20 people for a meeting. And in the meeting he spoke. I have decided that Yudhishthira will be made the heir apparent, which means Rajakumar, Yuvraj. Eventually he will go on to become the king. Like that he made an announcement. As soon as he made an announcement, immediately 4 people pulled out of that meeting. Shakuni, Duryodhana, Dushasana, Karna. And they had a little conference in another room where they went. So Duryodhana asked Shakuni, Uncle, what is happening? Uncle said, that's why we have come here. And then Shakuni asked him, let us take the names one by one. What do you think about Ashwathama? Duryodhana said, Ashwathama is my very dear friend. He will always be on my side. What do you think about Dronacharya? Dronacharya is his father. He will naturally be on my side only. What do you think about Kripacharya? Kripacharya has married Kripi, who is the sister of Dronacharya. So he said, just like Dronacharya has married Kripacharya's sister, Kripi. So therefore, because they have a relationship, family relation, Kripacharya will also be on our side only. What about Bhishma? He asked. Bhishma actually, he will side with whoever is the ruling party. So we are ruling party, he is on our side. Then he asked, what about Vidura? I said, Vidura is the only thorn, he said. Because he is with us, but he always thinks about Pandavas with that. Uncle, what should we do with Vidura? And Shakuni said, that I will tell you an idea. One day you can insult him and drive him out of the palace. He will be gone. And then Duryodhana asked, but what about my father? He's the one who announced that Yudhishthira is going to be the next king. What about him? Shakuni laughed and said, do not worry. your father is attached to you. So you can threaten him and tell him that if he makes Yudhishthira king, he will consume poison and die. You can tell him. In this way, and then, but how to convince my father that the Pandavas should be killed and I should rule? That I will arrange, do not worry. And Shakuni called one Kapila Brahman. And he told Kapila Brahman, I will give you profuse gold and silver, but you should exactly do what I tell you. The Brahman said, what do you want? He was a very poor Brahman. Not a proper Brahman, he was a cheating Brahman. So he told him that when Dhritarashtra will ask you what I should do, you tell him, you destroy the Pandavas. You should tell him, if you tell that, I will give you money, he told him. So then Shakuni took that Brahman with him. They all went to meet Dhritarashtra privately. And then Shakuni told Dhritarashtra, you see what, whenever you decide anything in your life, like you should consult the Brahman. Then he put that Brahman in the front. And then the Brahman told him to destroy the Pandavas. And then he took his money and he went out. And Shakuni said, see, he told you this, so you should do that. He told them. Now, how did Shakuni go to Dhritarashtra? Because Dhritarashtra consulted Shakuni. Dhritarashtra called for Shakuni. See, whenever you want to make some decision, whom should you consult? Should he consult Vidura or should he consult Shakuni? So how many of you will consult Vidura if you are in Dhritarashtra's position? Correct, no? Yeah. But why did he consult Shakuni? Anybody knows? Because his weakness turned into wickedness. He wanted to hear from somebody what he had already pre-decided. Therefore, he knows very well, if I call Vidura, Vidura will congratulate me and say that, yes, let him become the king. So he will not promote my desire. But if I ask Shakuni, he will tell me what I want to hear. I want to hear that my son should become the king. So here is where our life also faces problems. Sometimes what people do, they take one mentor and they know that this mentor will not allow me to do some wrong thing. Sometimes they go to another person, 3, 4, 5 people they will ask, can I do this, can I do this? And whoever says, yes, you can do it, they will say, now I have accepted that person as mentor. Because basically they want to pull out a yes from the mouth of the mentor. Correct now? You like it. You understand what I am saying, correct now? And that's what precisely Dhritarashtra did. I mean, in such a case, the weakness has turned into wickedness. So that means he was weak-hearted in the beginning, but he was not wicked. But eventually he became wicked due to several reasons, which are noteworthy. First reason, Bhagavatam says he was associating regularly with his son, Duryodhana, who was Krishna bit. He was a hater of the Supreme Lord. It says, so if somebody is hating Supreme Lord, you should not associate with them. If you associate, then you will also develop hatred. First thing. Second thing, he had a bad advisor like Shakuni, with whom he regularly associated. That was the second thing. So our advisors have to be really Krishna conscious advisors, proper advisors. We should not get cheating advice. That is the second thing. Third thing, he heard with 1 ear from Vidura and left it with another ear. He didn't take the good soul, Vidura's counsel. So when we don't pay heed to good advice, which is repeatedly given to us, we take it for granted and we purposefully appoint a counselor or a consultant who will fan our wicked plans. And we regularly associate with those who are haters of God. These are all the ways to go from weakness to wickedness. That's what we understand from Dhritarashtra. Let us say the positive side of Dhruva. What he did, he didn't associate with any hater. Even his mother was not a hater of her co-wife. Correct now? Even his mother was not a hater. Generally in this world, the peers sometimes hate each other. Peers. For example, you are one mentor, there's another mentor. Somebody comes and praises to you about another mentor. What you should say? You say, yeah, I also admire. That devotee is a wonderful devotee, like that you should say. One shouldn't say that, you don't know what that person has. I know, I will give you a list of what all bad that person has. That is very improper behavior. Because people want to boast about themselves and talk ill of others. But Dhruva's mother was not like that. Her heart was completely free from hatred. See, I can prove this with one more incident. When Dhruva completed his darshan of Vishnu in the forest, when he was returning back, this lady, Suniti, Dhruva's mother, was kept in a palanquin. She was also supposed to go to forest. The chariot of the king was going ahead and she was coming in a palanquin. When she boarded the palanquin, she immediately sent someone for calling her co-wife, that is Suruchi. She said, "You also come. You also sit with me." In the same palanquin, she accommodated her. What a big heart. Huh? Prabhupada says she was the great mother of a great devotee. He says, as much as Dhruva's heart became purified, she was also very, very pure-hearted. So she was not. See, if it was anybody else, imagine if any other mother, that my son has gone to forest and seen Lord Vishnu, he got a kingdom better than Brahma also. She will call the co-wife and laugh at her. Just see, you cursed him, now you see what my son has. She didn't do that actually at all. She didn't delight in, criticizing the co-wife. She didn't do that. She was a big-hearted lady. So that means Dhruva did not associate with any hater. And not only that, when he went to forest, he saw Narada, whose heart was filled with Supreme Lord. So in that way, you will find that Narada also gave him devotion to God. Therefore, we are learning here, Dhritarashtra associated with Duryodhana, Krishna hater, whereas he associated with his mother who was nobody's hater. And he had an advisor like Shakuni, whereas Dhruva had an advisor like Narada. Correct, no? Yeah. And Dhritarashtra, was an opportunist. He did not do the right thing because he intended to do the wrong thing, the weakness. But in Dhruva's case, he became weak-hearted when he got the chastisement, but eventually he went from weakness to victory. So now we are getting late now. I can go another 5-6 minutes per one. Because after these two comparisons, I'm coming up with lessons which are easy to understand. See, good intentions need favorable surroundings to fructify. Now, many of you devotees sitting here, you have a good heart. Sometimes you may feel weaknesses also in the heart popping up. But you are coming to a favorable surrounding, this temple, Bhakti Center, where your good intentions will be given shape and your weaknesses will be nullified, provided you take to the chanting process, which is actually the medicine. See, the devotees here, like Gaur Kumar Prabhu and other devotees here, they are all like mentors, they are like doctors. What doctors? Spiritual doctors. So, the spiritual doctor gives you a spiritual medicine. What is the spiritual medicine? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. So we should regularly chant or once in a while chant. So how many of you think every day one page of Bhagavad Gita, 5 minutes? And one round of chanting Hare Krishna takes 10 minutes. In one round of Arjun, 108 times we do. So 10 plus 5, totally 15 minutes in a day. Out of God has given you how many hours? 24 hours. So out of 24 hours, how many of you think 15 minutes is not a big deal? Raise a hand. How many of you think? It's not a big deal. Half of that. For others, is it a big deal? 15 minutes is not a big deal. So if you can commit yourself, that means you are rejecting Shakuni, you are accepting Narada in your life. Because this counsel is coming from a pure mentor, who is actually following the Guru Parampara, the line of great spiritual leaders. So you take this advice seriously. Read a page of Gita daily and just chant one round of Hare Krishna, any time of the day, morning, afternoon, evening, night, whatever time suits you. So, and you come to this favorable ambience, the temple, where your good intentions will fructify. Even if one has a weak will, one with a little sincerity and favorable surrounding grows out of weakness. Here, Duryodhana had a very weak, Dhruva, he had a very weak will in the beginning because he was weeping, crying, he had become broken-hearted, Dhruva, boy. but he had little sincerity. Anybody can tell me what was Dhruva's sincerity? And Dhritarashtra lacked that sincerity. And Dhruva had that sincerity. What was it? Yeah?
Is it listening?
Listening, correct, no?
Yeah, that I said.
Yeah. He was willing to listen. Like, for example, listen to the right people. Like his mother told him, don't harbor any malice. Immediately he submitted to that. He agreed that, okay, I will give up the malice to my stepmother. Then went to Narada, who told him, chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya and meditate on the Lord. He did that also. Later on, Dhruva will fight a war against the Yakshas, and his grandfather Swayambhava told him to stop the battle, immediately stop the battle. You will see that. And when he was fighting the battle with Yakshas, the Narayan Rishis, one of the Rishis, the skyways, told him that if you have to win the battle, you have to chant the name of Narayana, chant the name of Narayana. Which means in Dhruva's life you will find repeatedly he was submissive to the superiors. He was never independent of superiors. Actually, I am speaking this in a country like America, where Statue of Liberty is standing, where it's a country for freedom of speech, freedom of thought, freedom of action. But still I am saying about submissiveness. Why? Because just as you all are fond of your mother or father, who has raised you with affection from the childhood, in the same manner, if somebody can gift you God in your life, and you have seen them through as a person of pure character for over a period of time, you don't have to trust somebody who has shown a hole in the character. But if you have seen somebody with pure character, stable character over a period of time, then you can be submissive to listening to the good instructions. So Arjuna was like that. You look at Arjuna. Was Arjuna weak or not in the beginning of battlefield? He was weeping, right? He was just 2 feet ahead of Krishna and still weeping because he was disconnected from Krishna. That's why he was weeping. But after hearing Bhagavad Gita, he connected with Krishna. And then he accepted Krishna's will. You will see in all the religions, in the Bible it is said, let thy will be done, not my will. Similarly, in Islam they say, Inshallah. They say, Inshallah means that Lord's will be fulfilled. Similarly, Arjuna said, Karishye Vachanam Tava. May your will be fulfilled. So he became submissive to Lord's will, and he emerged victorious after that. You will see that. So, in this way, even if we have a weak will, no problem. We need a little sincerity to follow the advice. And then the favorable environment will see favorable environment means association of devotees. You can remember these 3 A's. Please repeat: association, activity, attitude. So now you all have come in this association of devotee Sangha here. And what is the activity you are doing? Prior to my coming, you were all doing wonderful kirtans. Sri Charan was leading the kirtans. Then now you are hearing a talk from the scriptures, which is actually fanning your goodness in you, the angel in you. And it is actually inspiring you to give up the animal side of our personality. And also then you will have prasad after this, dinner prasad. So you are actually, by coming in the right association, you do the right activity. In case you are not going to be here this evening, say your friends took you somewhere else outdoor. We don't know, something else we may be doing. Some other activity we may be doing. Correct, no? So if you come in right association, you do the right activity. And the right activity gives you elevation in attitude. So that happened to Arjuna. Because he had a little sincerity. Yeah, this is a mantra I told you, we should chant Hare Krishna mantra. It's a protection from dangers offered by Maya and deliverance from forgetfulness of Krishna. He does that. Here's another point. Unfavorable surrounding places big obstacles for one who may have good intentions but a weak will. Long story cut short, quickly I'll tell you. Look at the left side picture. There was a very nice boy called Ajamila, born in a very good, pure family. One day he went to forest to pluck some flowers to offer in puja to Supreme Lord. But there he saw a dirty sight of one low-class man, low-class woman were embracing and smiling. He saw that sight, as you're seeing in the picture. So once a man sees that sight, he comes from a good family, what he should do? He should immediately run away to home and tell the father, I saw such a sight, I am disturbed. and the father will take him to some guru and then help him get rid of the bad thought. Instead, what he did, he was hiding behind a tree and watching it over and over again. When you watch again and again, then the attachment develops. When attachment develops, then what happens? Lust develops. That was the other thing. So when he went to forest, was he wicked or was he pure? When he went to forest, what for he went to forest? Love flowers. So far so good. Up to that nothing happened. Correct? No? But after going to forest and he saw the sight, at the time he was feeling weakness. So earlier he was pure, he came to the point of weakness. And after that weakness came, then he came home. Instead of rectifying the weakness by taking advice from guru or somebody, he drove away the parents and drove away the wife and brought that prostitute to home and begot 10 children in her womb. And that is weakness or wickedness? Huh? What is that?
Wickedness.
Wickedness. See, wickedness means knowingly, deliberately indulging in impure activities, prohibited activities. Knowingly. You know it's wrong. Still indulging in it. That's wickedness. Earlier he was innocent, now no more innocent. He got degraded completely. So therefore the topic says in the top, unfavorable surrounding, that is forest. When he went to the forest, he got unfavorable surrounding, seeing that low-class man, woman embracing. Places big obstacles for a person who may have good intention but a weak will. So Ajamala went with good intention to forest, but his will was very weak. So now if you are living in America, for example, in America there is a free culture. We had gone to the park today to distribute some books. So I was wondering whether I would be allowed to approach people. Don't solicit people, sometimes they say. But they told me that, no, don't pressurize people, but you can just show. If they wish to take, they may take, otherwise say bye-bye and you go ahead. So I could sell a couple of books today when I went to the park. So when you walk in the streets, you may get to see man, woman, very interacting very intimately, setting the surrounding places. So one requires a deep character and integrity not to get spoiled by the ambience around them. Like you all know milk, if you mix water with milk, it gets diluted. But if you turn the milk into curd and then into butter, then you put the butter into water, will it mix? In the same manner, when you chant Hare Krishna, the milk like heart, eventually it will become like butter. Then even living in an ambience where there is a lot of sense gratification going on, you will not be affected. Therefore, the sadhana we call it. Sadhana should be done intensely. Once you call out the names of the Lord desperately. All the religions say that you loudly call out the Lord's name with all their heart and all their might. And taking shelter of Him, one can strengthen one's inner core of personality. And then we will not be affected. See, Vajamala, what happened to him? At the time of death, he was supposed to be taken to Yamaloka to be punished. But then he was saved by the servants of Supreme God. And then he went to a place called Haridwar, where he joined the Vishnu temple, he worshipped the Supreme Lord, he studied the scriptures, associated with saintly people, took bath in Ganges daily, lived his life, and ultimately 12 years later, he became such a pure devotee. Same people came and took him back to Godhead. Now he attained victory. So here is an example of weakness to wickedness to victory. Three things happened in his life. So why did I show you this example? Even due to some reason, we became wicked in our life. Still, life is not hopeless. Still, there is hope. Maybe we should actually never tell God that please don't give me punishment. Whatever I did mistake, you just forgive me. We should say that whatever punishments I deserve, you give me, my Lord, I am ready to accept. I am the culprit, but do not reject me. Accept me as your devotee. So that mood is very pleasing to the God. And Ajamila became a pure devotee. Unfavorable surrounding poses no big obstacles for one whose good intentions are combined with high character. So who is the person with high character? Prahalad. And did he have good surroundings? No, his father was, actually he couldn't call the police because father was the police. Father was ruling the whole world. So Prahalad, even in the hands of such a cruel-hearted father, he tortured him in varieties of ways. But because Prahlad was of high character and high devotion, along with good intention and pure heart, surroundings did not affect him. Like butter example I gave you. When you turn milk into butter, butter can never be unaffected. Prabhupada came to America here, he never became affected by the material stuff. He not only went back safely, but he took many, many devotees and they are transforming the whole world now. So, these are the 4 things items I showed you. Other things are examples. Duryodhana's short-lived detachment and Ravana's mindset polluted by Shurpnaka. There are other examples are given. Comes are swinging moods. For good sense to prevail, one has to create a good surrounding, either the external or the internal surrounding. So, which means you all already have a very nice facility here, Bhakti Center, and you have many leaders here who are guiding devotees. So take advantage of the nice ambience here. External surrounding is that it is always reflex. So you have to develop the internal environment also. So see, I have written 11 points. Sadhana, Swadhyaya, Sadhu Sangha. Sadhana means the chanting. Swadhyaya is the study of Srila Prabhupada's books, and Sadhu Sangha is associating with saintly devotees. All these things will help us to become spiritually stable. Thank you very much. So, Gautama, again take that.
So, if anybody has any questions, we'll just take like maybe one question.
Yeah, Prasad is ready.
Yeah, Prasad.
And if they have no question, then I will ask them a question. Okay, any of you can recollect the first statement I made in the lecture, 4 lines I made. And then I told about the goal of all religion. I told. Anybody remember that? Want to try that? I can give you the mic if you want. Anybody? Yeah?
I remember the goal is to surrender to the will of the Lord.
That came a little later. The beginning, yes?
I think you said surrender.
Correct, sir. Sarve Janaha Sukhina Bhavantu. I told the Sanskrit word, and in English I translated it in 4 statements. You remember that?
Surrender should be.
May the wicked become virtuous. May the virtuous become tranquil. May the tranquil become free. May those who are free. That's the first thing I said. And followed by that, I said the goal of religion is heart transformation. Without transformation, it's all just information. So we all want to experience transformation. So today what I am, I should not be the same tomorrow. I should be a better individual tomorrow. See, Philip's company has a statement, let's make things better, they say. But Vedas say, let us make people better. Because when things are becoming better, certainly. In those days, the weighing machine was this big, then it became smaller. Now it has become like a sleek, MacBook. Weighing machine has become so small now. But people's cross-section is increasing. Isn't it? So let us make people better or things better? Which one? Make people better. Heart should be changed. So I told you many examples. A cruel person should become compassionate person. The arrogant person should become humble person. Similarly, wicked person should become free from wickedness. He should become genuine and he should cry. Actually, even a wicked person eventually is willing to bow down to the Lord and seek forgiveness. God is extremely great-hearted. All of us in our lives, whatever mistakes we committed, we have to look at the road ahead. How I can make my life like a garden full of fragrant roses. Can make it a bright future like Dhruva made. So therefore, after that, I took 2 examples and I compared. What are the examples that you can compare? Dhritarashtra and Dhruva. Yeah. So Dhritarashtra was a negative example and Dhruva was a positive example. So why did we give you 2 examples? Negative example, you learn what not to do. And then positive example, you learn what to do. So who can tell me you learned from the Dhruva what not to do. What did you learn? 3 points I said. Anybody remembers one of those points? What not to do? You remember that?
Pre-decide and go to the.
Don't pre-decide and go to somebody and pull out of their mouth a yes. Or what you already have made up your mind to do. Start with that. Thank you. Give him an applause. Very good. Any other point you learned what not to do from the Dhruva? Anybody? Yeah. Bad association. Like he had, which was the bad association he had? Shakti and Duryodhana. One should give up bad association. Thank you. And Duryodhana actually was attached to Duryodhana. That was his biggest problem. And one more thing I said about the Dhruva, one should not do. Anybody doing this? Anybody? Yeah. What did he say? Hatred, yeah. He developed a hatred because of associating with a person who was a Krishna hater. He developed a hatred. So because of the hatred, it was actually like a downward spiral for him. Very good. Thank you. Okay, now we will conclude with the 3 positives of Dhruva. You can say 3 positives of Dhruva. Anyone? Yes?
Accepting the situation.
Accepting the situation and not, trying to deny it, or not brood over it. Accepting. Certain things happen in our life which may not be pleasant, but we still accept it. Okay, it has happened. Don't keep brooding over the past or talking about the past. Look the road ahead. Thank you. Very good. One more. Anybody else can answer? Oh, yeah? I want others to answer. Those who haven't answered can answer. Anyone else? Listen to that?
Good advice.
Listen to the good advice coming from great souls. Very good. Okay, the one more. Anything else from Dhruva?
Not harboring malice.
Yeah?
Not harboring malice.
Not harbor any malice towards any living being. Very good. So, many lessons, yeah. Don't harbor any malice for anybody in your heart. Be progressive in life. Think what you can do best in your life. Don't think bad about others. And that was a very good point Mata brought out. And she also said a very good point. What was your point?
Listen to good advice.
Listen to the good advice of great souls. Associate with great souls and take the good advice to your heart and bring about a change. And also, these things Dhruva did. And he was possessing Lord in his heart. Dhritarashtra was possessing his own son in his heart, who was a hating son. Whereas Dhruva was possessing who in his heart? Supreme Lord. The heart became purified. That is the secret of Dhruva. Although Dhruva had weakness, he attained victory subsequently. Then I told one example for weakness to wickedness to victory. Whose example was that? Ajamila. Very rare example it is. In this world, if somebody becomes wicked, it's very difficult to come out of wickedness. But you can see Srimad Bhagavatam gives hope for us that even somehow or other you got into the wrong track in your life. Okay, let it be. Now you look at the road ahead now. You can actually do great things in life. So, sometimes we think success means like this. I saw another picture that says, like it goes, and then it goes like this. You take multiple turns, suffer in life, and then finally you work with it. That's what happened to Ajamila. He went here and got into big trouble. You up to the point, Yamu to the skin. Up to that point. And then he just like, went back to God again. Thank you.